Welcome, everybody. This is Mr. Storm, and welcome to your final project for this term. This is definitely my favorite project for this first term. This is the project that affords the most creativity. It allows you to really expand and build a very comprehensive program, something that branches out into many different possibilities and utilizes all of the skills that you've learned so far. Now, I've started building my project, and this isn't complete. This is just a pretty good start for myself, and because it's not a fully finished program, I'm actually going to walk you through what I've built so far just to get you started. Now, I'm totally okay if you uh, kind of copy what I'm doing so far. Obviously, don't copy the text that I'm using, but I'm okay if you use the structure that I've begun building so far with this game. This is a long project, it's a big project, it's something you're going to dedicate quite a lot of time to. And so far, I've integrated most of the things that we need in order to complete the project. There are a couple things that I haven't integrated, namely, I haven't figured out a way to use not a switch, but a list in this yet. It's as the game gets bigger, you're probably going to want to do something like an inventory system or whatnot. But for right now, this works pretty well. So I'm going to walk you through my logic of structuring this program to give you some ideas on how to start yours. Okay, so I have some variables up here to store player choice. You'll see why that's important later. Here I have an array which stores a value of what's behind the door when you open it. Um, Matter of fact, let's actually go ahead and play the game right now and see what happens. So I'm going to make this a little bigger so it's easier to read. Okay, so I've changed the console color and I've given some instructions here. You wake up in a small cell. There's a sink in the corner next to a metal toilet. You are laying on a metal bed. What do you do? Check the door, flush the toilet, or try to go back to sleep. So, I don't know, let's say flush the toilet. Choice 2, hit enter. You flush the toilet and notice something swirling in the water. Do you pick it up? Sure, I'm going to pick it up. You grab the item out of the toilet and realize it's a key. You open the door, and on the other side, you see a headless bear. You die a tragic death. Try again. So that's essentially what the game is going to do. It's going to give you branching choices where you can choose what you want to do, and each choice has a different consequence. Um, so actually, let's go into the actual program, the structure of the program. So right here, I'm changing the console or the background color and the foreground color. That's something I want you to do for this game. Here at the top, I have, welcome to Zark. You wake up in a small cell. There's a sink in the corner of the metal toilet. You're lying on a metal bed. So that is your first statement. What do you do? I give them their options, and then I have a choice. This choice one is this choice one variable up here where I'm allowing them, or I'm storing their choice uh, here, right? Then I have a switch, and this switch basically wraps up the entire game. This switch is kind of you know, uh, I don't know, the whole game exists really inside of this switch, right? And each case, based on this first choice, I have three possible options: checking the door, flushing the toilet, or going back to sleep. And as a matter of fact, I have four possible options. The fourth one is they enter something I'm not looking for. And so that's the default case. They just die and the game ends. But these are the three options that will continue the game. One, two, and three. So case one, let's take a look at that. So first of all, I clear the screen and then I give them their next set of narratives. So you try to open the door, but it doesn't budge. Do you try the lock? Right? So I give them another option, another place to branch off, right? And give them the ability to choose. And then I have the second choice variable where I can store their option or their answer. And then in here, I say if choice 2 equals y, or it equals yes, or it equals yes with a capital, or equals lowercase y, then all those will return a true. So if they choose yes, then we're going to clear the screen again, and say you pick the lock and the door swings open. On the other side, you see A. And then here, I wanted to make it random so that I can tell whether or not they, I wanted it to be random that they won the game. I don't want there to be a clear path through the game every time. So I have this behind door array, which is up here. Let me show you. So I have this behind door array, and I have 3 things that are behind the door, either a headless bear, a swarm of zombies, or a dark hallway. And then I have a random that is generating a random number, 0, 1, or 2, right? So picking an index out of this array. And so basically I'm telling them this is what popped up, either a headless bear, a swarm of zombies, or a dark hallway, right? So then if random number equals 2, meaning if it chooses the dark hallway index, then we've actually won the game because, where is it? If random number equals 2, then you walk down the hallway and find a surprise party, you win the game, right? But if anything else, if it picks index 0 or index 1, then you're going to die a tragic death, right? So it's a, it's rare to win this game, right? So that's the if statement for if they choose yes. This whole thing is only going to run if they choose yes. If they choose anything other than yes, it's going to say you hesitated and unfortunately you died mysteriously. Please try again. So if they do not choose yes, they're going to die. And then we have our break statement at the end of this. So this whole section that we just covered, this is only going to run if they tried to pick the lock on the door. Okay, so that's case 1. That's if they pick the lock on the door. Now let's take a look at case 2, where they have the toilet. It's basically the same thing, right? You flush the toilet and notice something swirling in the water. Do you pick it up? Yes. If you do pick it up, then you grab the item out of the toilet, you realize it's a key, you open the door on the other side, and you see, again, our behind the door array with a random, right? And again, if they get random number 2, then you walk down the hall and you find a surprise party and you win the game. Anything else, you die. Okay, and then case 3 is exactly the same. So you try to go back to sleep, but you hear something scraping against the other side of the door. Do you ask who's out there? If you say yes, then this statement would be something to the effect of, you don't hear anything, but the door slowly swings open, right? And it could be on the other side of the door, you see a swarm of zombies or whatever. If it's the dark hallway, then you walk down the hallway and find a surprise party, right? Everything else is death. So this is the very basic structure of the game. Oh, and at the very end, after the switch statement, right? So let's go up. After the switch statement is over, I have it wait so that we can see what the game is doing. We can actually read the text. And I have my default case inside the switch to catch if they type anything that we don't understand. So this is just the beginning of the game. This is quite a lot right here, but it's a lot of it's being repeated, right? In the next term, we're going to talk about how to cut down on a lot of this repeated code. We'll talk about that when we get into creating methods and functions. But for right now, we're just going to repeat ourselves if you do it this way. You can do it any way you want. This is just the structure that I started for this project. Now, again, there are other things that I have not included in this project yet that you are going to be required to include, such as a list and whatnot. So this is a good start. Unfortunately, it doesn't make for a very fun game. It only lasts like a couple minutes or a couple seconds. I mean, you're going to want your game to be more detailed. More text, more options. Definitely give you make it more substantial than mine. This is just me playing around for 5 minutes, just seeing what I come up with. So you try to go back to sleep, hear something scraping against the other side of the door. You ask who's out there. Sure. You don't hear anything, and the door slowly swings open. On the other side, you see a dark hallway. You walk down the hallway and find a surprise party. I win the game, yay. So that whole game doesn't really last very long. You're going to want to make yours last a bit longer, and you're going to want to actually make it more comprehensive. This right here is just the beginning. This is, this is really boring. You're going to want to change this and modify it and add cool little fun extra games in the middle or whatever. But this is going to be a big project. So far, just the basic structure, I'm at about 140 lines of code. Yours is probably going to be double that when you're done. Again, this is a big project, okay? So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you get to it. I'm going to let you get to this game because, again, this is going to take quite a bit of time. In the planning and the execution and the debugging and all that stuff. So I'm going to leave you alone and let you continue working on it. And I will see you next term. Thank you so much for your hard work this term. You've learned a lot, and we're going to learn a whole lot more for the rest of the year. So I can't wait to get started. I'll see you next term.